And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
Nice.
So, look, I'm going to assume maybe you guys got married at the time, whatever. So we're going to say pre-marriage days or pre-relationship days. What were the ring rats like with you guys traveling around? Was it out of control?
Yeah, I mean, there was never a shortage. I mean, if you, I remember, I remember her. I can still see her face, but. There was one rat, who always came around to the shows, and they called her Old Reliable.
Old Reliable? That's Tommy Henrik from the 40s Yankees. What do you mean, Old Reliable? Well, actually, I know what you mean.
Reliable.
Never mind.
I never had the privilege, but when Tommy and I,
this is great.
Yeah, there was never a shortage. Whether we went to the strip bars or whether we went to Plum Crazy or Whisperers or some of the other well-known clubs in Charlotte. There was never a shortage of girls.
So which one of you girls is into me first?
Back to Old Reliable. Was she good looking?
No.
She was reliable.
She was just reliable.
Just leave it at that. She was reliable.
So she had a foot on her face.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Wow. Dig them toes.
The expression was, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Nice.
That's unbelievable.
But I had one that I actually had
God.
a restraining order because she followed me. She figured out where I lived. This one chick did, and I had to call the police and I had to keep her away. One day I came off the road and she was sitting on my front porch. I'm like, what in the world?
Would you name her Old Deniable? I mean, what are we talking here? Oh my God, what is she doing
Her
on your
face could
porch?
stop a clock.
Oh my!
All right, so but not you guys. But was there ever a case where one of the other wrestlers fell in love with a ring rat?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a story?
Oh gosh, yeah. Who's that chick that was the valet for? She went for. She ended up marrying Dustin Rhodes, but she was.
Oh, that's Terry Runnels.
Was passed around by all the top guys in Atlanta.
New Jack.
Yeah, she was the makeup artist down at WTBS when we were down there.
What was her nickname? Old Reliable?
I don't really remember. But that's one case that I can think of.
She was that chick that she was Mike Rotundo had her. She was like the secretary. She dressed up in a business suit.
Right.
Yeah. I remember coming out of the shower one time down at WTBS. I was walking this way. Kevin Sullivan was coming this way. Missy Hyatt was sitting down at the other end of the hallway. As I was walking by, Kevin yanks off my towel and drops it on the floor. And Missy, and I'm just standing there, butt naked, and Missy just down there at the end of the hall. And I remember somebody, hollering at me, "Hey, brother, don't expose the business."
That's great.
Ricky Morton also said, "Call the police. There's a thief in here." And everybody's looking around. He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Somebody stole that man's dick."
Oh, boom.
Ricky Morton would be going, "Thief, thief, thief," and we're all looking around at our stuff. He said, "Somebody stole that man's pecker over here."
Oh my God. All right, well, let me ask you this question. So when Morton and Gibson were in here, Morton's telling us that Gibson had the size of like an anaconda,
it's
right?
Like a jump rope.
Is that
What's
true?
Going on?
Yeah. That's a shoot.
A few
that's
other
a shoot,
things.
man. They called him like the human tripod.
Wow. The third leg.
And look, I'll tell you another guy that they talked about a lot was, God rest his soul, is Rocky King.
Rocky King.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Part of them got in the room before the rest of them. Very interesting.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Missy Hyatt. How was Missy Hyatt? Was she cool around the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, the girls, the valets, they all had, separate locker rooms and separate areas where they dressed and where we dressed. they were always extremely cool. Nicola Roberts, who is still a very good friend of mine. She was always very cool. Still is to this day. We message each other occasionally here and there. But she was always extremely cool. Matter of fact, she was part of my first wrestling match that I ever had when I was tagging with I think Lawrence Stevens against Midnight's Bobby and Dennis. With Cornette was over at the table with Shivani. Baby Doll was down here at the corner, and Big Bubba Rogers was right beside her.
Wow. All right, guys, weigh in. What's the difference between Vince McMahon and Jim Crockett?
Oh, Tommy?
Well, back then, the NWA in that era, we were as a blessing. It was all, we kind of Forrest Gumped our way into the business. It was at the height it ever was. I don't think it's ever been back. It was because of the culture, the booking. Dusty Rhodes had the mind to create all this hype. But Vince McMahon was the showman, the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus, big time. So, there's each had its own, but they created the first WrestleMania going into that. I remember just because we were on the payroll, we got a check with a portion of that. We called down. I was like, we got a check for what? We weren't even there. They're like, no, Miss McMahon wanted to thank everybody in the company because without everybody, this wouldn't have happened. So there was good from both. But if looking back now, you can see why the NWA turned into a dumpster fire, and currently the WWE is kind of in a similar situation.
Dave?
And I think from kind of what Tommy just said, the fact that, just the marketing. I don't think Jim Crockett really knew how to market properly. He started getting into the shirts and, wrestling cards and things like that. But Vince, just took it to a whole different level. The operation behind the scenes, which most people never see, you just can't believe how professionally, that outfit is run.
Now we know why he never sleeps, Mr. McMahon. We always hear the
There
stories.
you go.